Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we're going to take a look at the main astrological energies of April 2022. As this is a month where we have some big energetic weather coming in and coming through, we're going to look at these big energy cycles, how to make the most of them, what may be coming up for you, as well as what to be aware of in terms of your power, your choices, and the best use of your energies. So we will dive into that in just a moment, but I wanted to do a quick programming note here that on Monday, March 21st, this podcast was not fully distributed across Apple's system as the Apple platform was down, and a number of you had asked me about that and inquired about that episode. So when there is a failure in the distribution systems, you can always find this podcast on Spotify, Google, Amazon, Blog Talk Radio, and YouTube, just to name a few of the bigger distribution outlets. And that's also where you can listen to last Monday's episode, which was about starseeds, light workers, and the USA Pluto return energies, essentially going into how this may be a cycle that strongly activates you, activates your soul mission and your energies, and brings some things to light that you've lived through and experienced in other timelines. So please check out that episode if that topic calls to you. Now, diving into April 2022, we have big energies here underway, with the most notable being the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in Pisces. Now, I'm going to start with some good news here, which is that this is an intense energy. It's literally once in a lifetime, as we haven't seen this exact conjunction since 1856. But what we have going for us is that it only happens once. So think of it that way. This is not a conjunction that happens 2 or 3 times, certainly not 5 or 7 times, which can happen with outer planets. But because of Jupiter's energy, we're only experiencing this conjunction literally once in a lifetime, opposed to an ongoing energy cycle or an ongoing transit. Now that's because Jupiter in Pisces will move ahead and enter Aries on May 10th, but Jupiter will come back in October 2022 to re-enter Pisces, but will only retrograde back to 28 degrees. So Jupiter is only connecting through an exact conjunction one time, even though in a typical cycle, Jupiter could have an interaction multiple times. So this is very significant as well, because it means that there's something we're moving through in the Pisces areas of our lives that is meant to free us from something. And that is one of the higher expressions of Pisces, is that you lighten your load, you let some things go, you drop the baggage, you clear out, transmute, allow something to dissolve so that there can be an opening, there can be a new void, there can be something that now has room and space in your life or in your energy field for the new to come in. So in your astrology chart, you want to identify where you have 23 and 24 degrees of Pisces. Now, everyone has these degree points in their chart because every single one of us has all 360 degrees of the zodiac wheel in our natal charts. Now, you might not have any planets or points at 23 or 24 degrees of Pisces, but you have this energy in your chart somewhere, and you want to identify where it is by house placement, as house placement is the area of life where these energies open up and where they're working with you. So you identify the house placement, perhaps it's the 5th house, the 9th house, the 11th house, whichever house you have this degree point, these 2 degree points is where you are being required really to release and surrender. And this is something that's happening in a very big way. And notably, it can be confusing because Pisces is a very interesting dynamic where when you think about the Pisces energy, it connects us to the spiritual world and the human world. It is literally as above, so below, as within, so without. And so we're having this energetic dance between our humanness and our spiritual selves, between the parts of ourselves that are navigating this physical world, and then the other aspects of our energy, our God self, our higher self, our soul's energy that is already at peace with something. There's a part of you that's energetically at peace. You can feel a completion or a surrender. You could feel like you've already connected with parts of your own life, your own identity, your own energy field that have been released, that are cycling out. And that's a place you can go, is into these higher realms where there's already an equilibrium, if you will, already a peaceful balance around what has finished for you. Now, this is energy you can then call into your human self and integrate so that you can feel that peacefulness, that completion, that willingness to allow something to unravel. Perhaps it's something that you even held close to your chest, close to your heart, close to your energy field. You could feel like it's easier to allow it to be transmuted. And I see that transmutation as a spiraling up to unconditional love and acceptance for your humanness, for the parts of ourselves that feel things deeply, that are energetic beings, the parts of ourselves that are intuitive and sensitive and very alive. You know, we have a lot of stimuli that we're surrounded by in this world, and especially in these current energy fields. And it can be hard at times to connect to a peacefulness around it, especially when the waves are really big. But I feel like what we're being encouraged to do is to go higher, connect with the wisdom of your higher self, understand what you've been learning, understand what it has done to serve you on your own human journey. Because part of that is also the Pisces flip. And I see it as the flipping of energy where we could feel at times powerless. We can feel like we're always in service. We're not doing enough. We're not giving enough. How do I save this? How do I do more for this? Because that Pisces energy really wants to be of service and of assistance. Pisces really wants to help in some capacity. But part of this energy cycle is understanding that your true power is in how you help yourself, how you serve yourself, how you allow that to be something you consciously work with so that you're not drained. You're not dispersing your energy out in a way that depletes you or even creates this experience of I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing enough. Or I'm not owning this enough. Or there's this energy of you could feel a lack of enoughness, because sometimes that Pisces energy feels like a giant filter, like you just can't grasp it, right? It's meant to move through. And there's real divine beauty in this, but we have to shift our consciousness to connect with that and to see it, meaning that you don't have to do too much. You don't have to focus on where there are holes or lack or things that aren't connecting. This is where you go higher to understand more of what you're learning, completing, and releasing across multiple lifetimes, because I feel like this particular Jupiter, Neptune, and Pisces portal is really clearing out those very strong age of Pisces energies where we believed we had to do more, we had to martyr ourselves, or we had to be in extensive service, we had to give our power away. And it was this energy cycle of being out of touch with our God self, with our power, with our ability to understand that we're this beautiful vessel, these beautiful containers of energy, light, love, compassion, divinity, spiritual wisdom. And maybe we didn't see how much we needed to give that to ourselves, that is what we were meant to be strengthening. And in fact, that's what we can reclaim now. So yes, there are many ways you can understand this Jupiter, Neptune, and Pisces cycle, which is about endings, especially when you note that it's happening at 23, 24 degrees, which is in the third decan of Pisces, nearly the very end of the full zodiac wheel. So this is a big deal. This is big energies moving through us that we can work with willingly. And this is something you can open up to. You can just be aware that whatever changes are happening, whatever is moving through you is right on time. It's in beautiful divine timing, because I feel like what is also occurring is that there are more parts of ourselves that are opening up, and we're being given more space and room to allow those openings to occur. And I'm seeing this specifically in the heart chakra and the crown chakra, where we're opening up maybe what has been hardened or toughened, what has been vibrating at a lower frequency, where there's things here around the heart chakra and the crown chakra that could be connected to a victim consciousness that you've held across multiple lifetimes, that there could be energies here that you are flushing out. It's really moving through, and it could feel like a storm at times. It could feel like you are storming, like there's a lot going on, a lot of emotion. The ocean is raging at times, and that is part of this Neptune energy, the influence of Poseidon pulling up some things from the ocean's trenches, from the very bottom of the ocean. It could feel like there's things coming up and moving through you, and that it's just a very intense cycle that can be very hard to grasp or understand in the moment. But after the storm passes through, there is a grand clearing, and then the waters calm, the waves flatten out, the sun returns, and there could be this experience of something being released from you. So this is a very big energy here in April that really starts to pick up around April 8th and will reach its peak April 12th and continue into the middle of April, where we'll have Jupiter and Neptune hanging out at 24 degrees of Pisces before Jupiter moves on. So these middle weeks of April are where we're looking at what we need to surrender, what we can willingly surrender, and understanding how surrender is a superpower. This is working with you. This is working for you. This is energy that we haven't experienced before. So there's something very clear here around your soul's intention to allow this big energy cycle to work with you, to allow something to shift permanently within you. And again, you could feel this in your heart chakra, in your crown chakra. Whatever calls to you truly is where you could feel this. But I'm feeling the flushing out because we're not meant to carry all of this forward. We're moving into new potentials that won't connect with the older frequencies. So see it as a frequency upgrade, a vibrational clearing out, something that's working with us very strongly, and perhaps could be even energies you're picking up in your sleep, where there could be many nights here in April that you feel restless, agitated, the energies are big, you can't really get into that deeper sleep that you'd like because of how we're feeling these energies across multiple realms of our beings. So with the strong Pisces influence, you could feel more sluggish or fatigue. You could need more naps. You could just feel it in a very intense way. And of course, this will depend on how you work with Pisces energies and how well you know Pisces energies. I did a separate podcast episode for you on this Pisces portal. So I won't go too much into this other than this is one of the biggest energies of the year, certainly of the month, and we've been building up to it. We've been moving into this grand release. So trust that whatever is leaving, whatever is unraveling and being released is right on time, and that part of Pisces is that we're aware of how we have so many emotions within us, that there's things that we're designed to do. We're made to feel sadness when something leaves. We're made to grieve. And in our modern culture, that isn't openly discussed or always honored, but through ancient traditional practices, grieving was something that was deeply honored and understood as part of a natural cycle. The Pisces energy also connects us with a feeling of our own humanness, because there's so much that can feel bigger than us that we don't have quote unquote control over. Yet there's a part of our humanness that is at peace with that, that's okay with that, that's here to experience this wild spectrum of energies. So I feel like part of the Pisces gift is in that detachment, that stepping back, knowing that it's not personal, knowing that it's not something you can control, that it doesn't directly relate to you as a being, but that there could be things coming up or coming through that at first feel personal, especially if you are highly sensitive, you are an empath, you are really tuned into energies. But as you go higher, you spiral up to that perspective of your higher self. There's a peace there. And you could tell yourself, this is beautifully perfect, beautifully divine, beautifully right on time. And if you've had a changeover in your life of some sort where things have shifted dramatically, things have left your life, things have moved through, there's a part of your higher self that is beautifully supporting you, loving you, accepting you, and also guiding you towards what is next. And I feel like what's to come here, especially later on in 2022, is going to hold very different energy frequencies. There's going to be things that are going to feel fresh and new and different, and you're going to feel like you have the room and space for them in your life. So if you're feeling throughout April that you're energetically at capacity, you're just full up, there's no more room for anything, this energy of Pisces is going to help clear out what you don't need anymore so that you have more energetic space for what does match your frequency now. And it could show up fairly soon after this exact conjunction, because in the second half of April, yes, I'm just jumping ahead here to the second half of April, we're going to have a very lovely Taurus solar eclipse. Now, this occurs on April 30th. And it is at 10 degrees of Taurus in your chart. And what's fascinating is that we have the sun and the moon together, 10 degrees of Taurus, sneaking up behind Uranus at 14 degrees of Taurus. So 3 planets in Taurus, all conjunct. That Uranus energy, as we know, is about acceleration, quantum leaps forward, big changes, awakenings, liberations, showing us more of what's possible, because Uranus is connected to the cosmos, it's universal intelligence, and it's showing us what we can do differently now going forward, because it's been working with our value systems, and that is Taurus. So we're developing a new sense of what has meaning in our lives, what really matters. And this Taurus energy is ruled by Venus. And at the time of the eclipse, Venus is at 27 degrees of Pisces, exactly conjunct Jupiter at 27 degrees of Pisces, and also conjunct Neptune at 24 degrees of Pisces. So what this means is there is a big turnover in our self-value, our self-love, what we want, what matters to us, tapping in to higher streams of love. This could be a whole new love, an expansive love. This could be higher streams of understanding your worth, your own ideas and understandings of what you're worth in terms of what you require, what you value, what you want. This can also open up a lot of creativity. This is a very interesting energy of expansion around whatever you have cleared out. I feel like this eclipse helps you bring in something that matches your new self-love vibration. It feels grounding, it feels clear, it feels strong. It feels like there's something that can come in and come through that is for your new trajectory, that new growth path, and what will continue to inspire you, to open you, to show you of more of what you're capable of. So I'll be talking more about this Taurus solar eclipse, of course, but please note that there's things here that could turn over fast, where you could feel like, oh my gosh, there's this emptiness, sort of like looking at an empty, barren land where you go outside and there's just nothing there. It appears to be nothing there, rather. And then all of a sudden, you know exactly what to build. You know exactly what is going to go there. And it's something that maybe you didn't connect before or see before, but there is something coming through that you're ready to focus on, develop, and build. So understand how April ends with something of significance that's meant to connect with your energy, almost like the universe is replenishing quickly, bringing something new in that is showing you what's possible now. So that can be reassuring. That can be something that provides grounding and strength as we float through all the unknowns here of these strong Pisces energies. Also in April, we're going to see both Venus and Mars move into Pisces. As April begins, they are no longer conjunct, and we have Pisces energies picking up throughout April, which is quite odd when you think that it's typically a very strong Aries or Taurus season. Venus enters Pisces on April 5th. Mars enters Pisces April 15th. Now, Venus enjoys the strength, beauty, and loveliness of Pisces. She can now relax in this feminine energy, especially after being in the masculine Aquarius energy. Now she takes a break. She's able to trust more. She's able to understand what she needs and to even do less. So when we have Venus and Mars both in Pisces, there could be a desire to take a break, to get more downtime, to go on vacation, to give yourself more rest. And that would be a wise use of your energy throughout April, because just as you may be feeling that it is a very unstable time, the energies of Venus and Mars relate to our daily energy fields, and it feels like we are going to need to go slower at times, to take a break, and to trust what we're truly feeling. So the energies can fluctuate day to day, meaning you could have a lot of energy and a lot of desire to get something done one day, and the next day you could feel depleted. All you can do is lay on the couch. You're not sure how much you can really focus on. So keep that in mind, that April's energies can feel inconsistent. And that might be a good word here to work with the strong Pisces influence. So Venus is at home in Pisces. She's able to navigate it. She enjoys being in these feminine flows, whereas Mars struggles in Pisces. And that's simply because think of how Pisces is at the end of a cycle. Mars is tired. He's just been through a whole 2-year journey of going after what he wants, because Mars is the masculine, it's desire, it's asserting yourself, it is being out in the world and understanding what matters to you, what you're going to do about it, what you're going to make happen. So by the time Mars gets into Pisces, he is ready to lay down everything he's been holding and carrying. He doesn't want the burdens. He needs a break. He also needs to replenish himself physically, mentally, emotionally. And there's things that he just wants to throw up a white flag about. He's just ready to surrender something, which is not how Mars normally operates. But when you understand the cycle of energies, you can see how this period of rest is essential, and it's necessary because Mars will enter Aries and begin a whole new dynamic of going for what he wants on May 24th. So Mars in Pisces is softer, weaker. He isn't here to create conflict or stand strong in something. Rather, he's trusting what is unfolding, and this can feel foreign and certainly not his normal routine. But it is quite fascinating that Mars in Pisces is occurring during these other strong Pisces energies, which is about not being overly attached to what we want, to what our ego desires, or to trying to make something happen, because that can feel futile when Mars is in Pisces, where he is swimming against the currents, if you will, and it just feels like it's only weakening him. So I feel like this also pertains to taking care of yourself physically, being very aware of your own health, your body, your lifestyle, what you're eating. All of that is even bigger during these strong Pisces energies, because the body is going to need more grounding and support, and the body is going to need even more rest to deal with the energies that you're feeling and sensing. Now, keep in mind, this isn't mental, meaning this isn't something that you can necessarily figure out. You're just going to feel it. You're going to feel a certain way some days. You're going to perhaps even feel more intuitive, or like you're getting messages or information in ways that you don't know what to do with it. But this is the upgrade. We are becoming greater spiritual beings. We are learning how to incorporate and integrate these energies into ourselves by conscious choice, and working with these energies that are available to us that we're not always trained to appreciate or integrate. Meaning, we live in a world that strongly focuses on the mind, the body, what we're doing, what we're creating. And all of this Pisces energy is about the beingness and the trusting what's flowing through us, trusting our intuition, working with spirit, tapping into the unknowns, really honoring what is coming through for you in a way that you can trust. So for example, this could look like, I'm really tired today. I'm not going to pack my calendar full of things, and I'm just going to trust that everything I need to take care of will get done. It will get taken care of. And then what it seems that you perhaps put off, or where you're procrastinating, it could be 2 days later that you have all this energy coming through to get things done, and you're able to knock it off your to-do list in no time. So it can really feel like all or nothing some days. And it could feel like that is a struggle, especially when you look at how our lives are set up and that we're supposed to be productive every single day. You could certainly relate that to a masculine approach to life, where there's things that we need to accomplish and get through and make progress on regularly. But this is a transition into a feminine flow, a feminine way of life, where there could be things that you're just trusting that if you don't get to it today, you'll take care of it next Thursday. And you know that it will get done, and you're not going to stress about it because you're trusting your own energy. You're trusting that if you don't have the energy for it, there's no need to force it. So keep this in mind, because I feel again like these are going to be some of the very strong waves throughout April that could throw you off if you're not aware of it, or if you're being too strict with yourself. What's also coming through is that when we push ourselves too much, when we try to force the river, or we're swimming against the currents, we wear ourselves out, our bodies get exhausted, and this is where our immune systems can be weakened. This is where our body then requires us to rest in some capacity. So the more that you're consciously managing your energy and you're aware of it, the more that you're going to feel that you're supported, and that you don't have to swim against the current. You don't have to force the river. In fact, that could be futile and exhausting. So very important to manage your physical energy at this time, to listen and pay attention to what your body needs. This comes down to the basics of good food, vitamins, rest, water, all those things that we know about, and making sure those are priorities, because not only are they supporting us energetically, but they're grounding us. Going for a simple walk can be very grounding and help you remember to take care of yourself during these bigger cycles of energy. One more thing to note here as well about Jupiter and Pisces is that Jupiter is moving fast in Pisces throughout April and will not return to this part of your astrology chart for another 12 years. Now, in the second half of 2022, Jupiter will retrograde back to 29 and 28 degrees of Pisces. These are the very last 2 degrees of the whole zodiac. But throughout April, there's energies here that we're only experiencing not only once in a lifetime, but once every 12 years. So because Jupiter is only retrograding back into 2 degrees of Pisces, I feel like there's an even bigger message here around what you no longer need, what you're done with. And it could even surprise you. There could be something that you're feeling a shift around that you weren't expecting. Again, I'm feeling it in the heart, and I'm also feeling it in the crown chakra. I feel like so many people can open up to more of their intuitive gifts and energies. Maybe you're sensing other spiritual gifts from other lifetimes coming through. Maybe you're opening up to even more that you're capable of expanding into. So keep that in mind, that April has such an interesting energy signature, and you're meant to understand more of what you're good at. That is, of course, the domain of Jupiter that wants you to build confidence and feel expansive in your energy. It could even be that something just comes through and lands in your lap effortlessly because Jupiter in Pisces wants you to have this, and it's connected to divine timing. So that is one of the beautiful manifestations here of Jupiter in Pisces, is that things can come through that you thought were delayed, that you thought were forgotten or lost. Jupiter in Pisces says, oh, here you go. This energy has been accumulating for you. Let me just put it right there so you don't miss it. And even if it seems too good to be true, it's not. It's energy that you've earned, that you've accumulated, and that's designed to support you going forward. So keep that in mind, especially where this transiting Jupiter in Pisces is moving through your chart. Whichever house it's moving through, there could be something beautiful that just shows up out of the blue. And again, it's energy that you have accumulated, and the universe has not forgotten. The universe hasn't forgotten anything. The universe is fully aware of everything you've been through. The universe is very much connected to what you need next. But it's a bit like if you've been hoarding energy, and I'm literally getting that visual of a house that is just packed with stuff, with boxes and knickknacks and collections of ceramic spoons and all kinds of things that are just taking up space. The universe is like, well, if you're at capacity, how can we bring anything else in? Where am I supposed to set this? There's no open doily for me to put this gift on. So the universe wants you to clear out energies that we've been holding and carrying for lifetimes so that the new gifts can come in and arrive and you can see them. So keep that in mind. I know I've said that a few times during this podcast already, but it's such a big theme because even though Pisces is about endings and loss, what we perceive as a loss, again, I'm feeling like the universe is standing right outside the door, ready to replenish, ready to bring in the new. So understand that is part of this cycle. And I feel the new really starts to come in not only in May, but the second half of this year. So that's not even a long wait. The new is ready, but if there's no room in the house, there's no place that it's going to land or arrive. So yes, very big energies here in April around clearing out. But again, it feels like the new is ready to come in and you will ultimately be so grateful for what you've released. Even if it feels sad at first or that you're not ready, I feel like there could be a rather fast turnover of that energy and of that experience. Also at the end of April, on April 29th, we're going to see Pluto station retrograde at 28 degrees 35 minutes of Capricorn. And this is new territory that Pluto is in. In fact, Pluto is hanging out at 28 degrees of Capricorn all April and May. So this is the first planet to now station retrograde. We will have more retrogrades in May with our next Mercury retrograde as well as Pluto retrograde. So what we're looking at here is whatever is evolving you at this time is supporting you in connecting with new parts of your energy that Pluto in Capricorn is opening up and showing you how to be in your authority, what you are mastering, what you are owning and stepping into, especially in the Capricorn areas of your chart. Now, I feel like these Pluto retrogrades are always beneficial for integration and recalibration, where we are really understanding more of what we're transforming at very deep levels of our being. And it's also the energy signature of what you're done with, what you're permanently complete with that you don't need going forward. April has something very clear it's going to gift you with. Gifting you with a higher perspective understanding of what is no longer needed, how you're permanently evolving and changing over the course of the month, and then giving us time to further integrate it so that we really understand what that means. Because similar to learning a new skill, doing something differently, it can take time to practice it. And when we're working with it at our own level of consciousness, it requires that we identify the previous patterns or behaviors that we're replacing. And that's one way to look at this Pluto, especially because it's now going to be working with the final degrees of Capricorn. So big karmic completions, significant things ending and changing in the Capricorn areas of our lives and in our world. It then takes time to understand what we call in next, what we work with in a new way. It can feel challenging. It can feel very foreign, especially when we need time to find our groove with it. But it also highlights more of these permanent changes that we are meant to experience right now at this time in your life. It's all right on time. And the more that we can really believe that and integrate that, the calmer we're going to feel. This can calm down your mind, your emotional body, your nervous system, even anywhere that you're not quite sure what's being activated. When you go into that deeper trust that it's all right on time, that you're evolving beautifully and perfectly, that can help strengthen your connection to trusting your soul's journey, trusting this journey that you're on right now that is so different, so rare, so unbelievable, really, because what we're working with are very big energies all at once. You know, we have a lot on our plates. We can feel overwhelmed very easily right now, but this is also where we step up higher into our spiritual mastery and our ability to alchemize energies. And that is certainly personal for each one of us, but I feel like that's a big energy signature right now as we continue to move through many significant cycles here that we are undergoing on the planet. I feel like April is this gateway, this portal into a new version of your life, that it's opening you up to more potentials and possibilities that you weren't ready for previously. And it's showing you more ways that you're here to step into your sense of self, your authenticity, and your spiritual gifts in this lifetime. So we have this acceleration into our own spiritual nature in whatever that means for you, because that certainly has different definitions for each of us. But it feels like this is where there can be some very beautiful, clear, divine energies coming through that will serve you and help you even more going forward. This could also be, and this just came through, you could also feel a new arrival of spirit guides. You could feel the energies of new beings supporting you that you're connecting with now because you're at a different frequency that allows you to connect with new guides, angels, beings of light. Perhaps you're feeling a new energy come through from a higher council or other energetic beings in the cosmos. I'm feeling like that is actually a big theme here, is that as we're growing spiritually, we have new spiritual mentors come through, as well as other energies move out. I even remember experiencing this in my own life back in 2006. And I can't remember the exact transits going on in my chart, but I literally woke up in the middle of the night and felt one of my spirit guides wake me up to say goodbye. And at first I was so sad. Where are you going? What do you mean? And she was just about getting me through a certain chapter in my life, helping me cross a bridge, so to speak, and move into something. And that was it. That was all she needed to help me with. And then it was time for her to move on. And it was so beautiful that she even was able to wake me up and I could see her. She was huge. She was like 9 feet tall or something. And it was this very loving goodbye. And it was just this honoring of where the soul contract was complete. It was no longer needed. It was a graduation. And that could be part of what you see and feel as well, is that the changeover is always about energies shifting. And that there are some beings you travel with to get you through a certain phase of your life, help you move into a certain frequency or experience, and then they're gone and they need to move on and continue their journey just as you move on to continue your journey. So as this transition happens in Pisces, there could be energies that you're feeling are complete, but it's also a success. It's a graduation. It's a celebration. And you could feel too that there are then these new guides coming through that support you with the new phase, the next part of your journey. And they're going to bring in new insights, new tools, new areas of wisdom to help you going forward. So this month is ushering us into new experiences and new energies that we haven't yet connected with. And that is a sign of our spiritual growth, our energetic shifts, and how we're continuing to awaken to even more of ourselves and continuing to expand our own consciousness. That the universe fully recognizes, the universe fully sees it, and again, it's ready to bring in more for you to connect with and work with in whatever ways are best for you now. And of course, the energy of eclipse season can bring up timeline changes where you shift into that new growth trajectory. You open up to more of what is true for you, what you want, what you're ready to focus on next, and is really showing you that there's always more that we can move towards and create in our lives, even after these big energy shifts and turnovers. And it's actually a really lovely timing that the strong Pisces energies happen first. Then we have the eclipse energies that help us be in higher alignment with what we want to experience next. So there is beautiful divine timing at play here, as there always is. And it can just feel like a much bigger time because of how both are occurring within only a matter of weeks. Now, there is a lot more happening throughout April, and I go into that in my Soul Growth monthly webinar. That's the one that I offer for you at a wonderful price every month. You can get it with coupon code Aries for only $11, where we go into the Aries new moon on April 1st, the Libra full moon, middle of the month, and then we look at that Taurus solar eclipse, plus all the transits of the month. And this is designed for you to see how these energies are showing up in your own natal chart. Throughout April, it will be very important to look at how you navigate these energies, to be more conscious of where your mind goes, of where your energy goes, to stay aware of some of those lower Pisces energy signatures that can show up that are very normal. Where again, if you feel overwhelmed, discouraged, if you feel like giving up on something, or you're feeling depressed, you're feeling emotionally overwhelmed, this would be understandable at this time, But it's also necessary to look at what you can do to manage that energy, where you can go for assistance or help, where you can turn to work with the energies, not force anything, but simply remind yourself that it's all a passing phase. It's not going to stay this way forever. Of course, if you need professional help or assistance, please seek that out. Please understand that is a powerful thing to do, to ask for help. And it's one way that we can lift ourselves up and connect with other energies that support us. So certainly keep that in mind, because these energies can feel very big at times, as I've said numerous times in this podcast. But remind yourself you're not alone. There are experts, there are professionals, there are people out there who can help walk you through this path if you need it. And it can make all the difference. I personally think therapy is awesome. Therapy helps in so many levels of our being. It can be very validating and appropriate. Also, it's a safe place to share, a safe place to understand more of who you are, what's going on in your mind, in your heart, in your world, and to know that you're not alone. So April is a month that's designed to shift us, to evolve us, to bring up even more of what we're ready to release and let go of, and also to take care of ourselves, to be very compassionate and accepting of what you've been through, to allow former versions of yourself to be at peace, to dissolve perhaps parts of yourself that you didn't know what to do with. Or maybe you were holding a lower frequency about a certain chapter of your life. I mean, this could be shame or guilt around something that you did, or a version of yourself that you experienced, or something that was a part of your self-identity, but it no longer is. That's how big these shifts are. That's what can be removed and dissolved. And again, to end on the high note here, that's where you can go up to your higher self's frequency and find peace. Be at peace with all parts of your journey, all parts of what you were learning, and understanding that it's all been a part of your growth. It's always served you if you look at it through that lens. If you look at it as, this is what I was learning, this is how I was growing. If you can see it through that compassionate perspective, it can help you soften to yourself, accept yourself, love yourself, and then also carry that energy forward into what you're ready to begin and experience next. So April is a big month, has significant energies, and of course I will be traveling with you through these podcasts every Monday and Wednesday, as well as my videos on YouTube every Friday. If you want to learn more about the eclipses, please check out my 2022 Soul Growth Astrology webinar. It covers all of the big astrology of the year, including the 4 eclipses that we're just starting on. And there's a whole webinar talking all about the eclipses, the 4 types of eclipses, more specifics about each energy signature, what it means when an eclipse is working with you personally, all that good stuff. So please check that out. Use coupon code READY to get it for $28. I'll put the link below the podcast. But this is one way that we can work with astrology intentionally, is by seeing how the energies are showing up for you. So as always, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for being here. As I'll be back on Wednesday for another podcast episode. You can find out more about me over at mollymccord.online. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and I look forward to connecting with you there as well. I hope April brings you beautiful gifts and developments that you're ready for at a soul level, and also an understanding that everything is right on time. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you back here really soon.